Hey guys, I'm Dr. Ron Miller here with CashBasedPhysiotherapy.org again. We have a special guest. We have Dave Kittle. He is the co-host of PT Tech Talk, which is a great podcast. I love listening to you guys, and he's also the co-owner of Venetial. If you haven't heard of Venetial, it's great new technology coming out with HIPAA-compliant communication with your patients. It's via text, anything, and I'm sure there's a lot of updates and new things coming.
Right.
But today, he's actually going to interview me and ask some questions about cash-based physiotherapy. So, go ahead.
Sure. So, the one thing I thought of when asking about how you started was about your pricing. So, how do you pick pricing? Do you start low and then go high, or do you have to start high as like an aspirational cost? Where would a practice owner, a cash PT practice owner, starting with pricing?
So I made the mistake of starting low and going up high.
Really?
Yes. So my first year, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was seeing patients for like $75 an hour just because I thought that was like a reasonable price. But if you look at my goals, I wasn't even close to attaining my goals. I wasn't close to attaining my salary. So what you should do is ask yourself, how much money do I want to make? How much revenue do I want? What size business do I want? And when you know how much money that you want to make and you know how big your business is, you can reverse engineer your goals, and that will dictate how much you want to charge. Okay, now there's some PTs in a cash-based clinic in like Washington, D.C. charging $250 a visit.
Wow.
And then there's some who are charging $60 a visit. But what really matters is what's your goal? Because I see PTs all the time saying, I want to make $100,000 a year, but I'm charging $70 a visit, and I'm only seeing 2 to 3 patients a day. If you do the math, you're not even going to come close to that.
Right.
After taxes and expenses and everything else, you're not even going to come close. So what I recommend is set your goals. Ask yourself, how much money do you want to make? So stop doubting yourself. Is it going to work? Is a cash-based clinic going to work? I've proven that it works. And I made the mistakes at first too. So set your goals. Ask yourself how much money you want to make. And then the key is reverse engineer and find out how much money you have to charge per visit to make your goal. And that's how you calculate it.
Awesome. So the next thing I wanted to know is, because if I were, now I'm not going to because I have a software company, but if I were going to start a cash-based practice, I would really want to know, well, yeah, you're doing well now, Ron, but did you start with a following? Like, did you start with a following that left your previous job where you worked, or did you already have a private, maybe you had a private caseload on the side, like very part-time? Did you have a following?
So I couldn't work part-time in my clinic, so I had to quit cold turkey, jumped off the cliff of small business and started marketing. So I had my clinic open with no patients coming in. And what I did was I worked PRN at a nursing facility part-time to pay the bills because I have student loans. I had bills and stuff to pay. So I worked part-time that, and I built my caseload up to a point where 1 to 2 years out, I had such a reputation, my business grew, that I could go on from there. So I did not have a caseload, or maybe 1 or 2 patients came over, but I just let them know that I was opening a clinic, so they were aware of it, and I reached out to them, and maybe they shot me a referral or 2. But I didn't bring past patients from my old employer over because conflict of interest. I had a non-compete clause too at like some point, so I had to deal with that stuff. But I cut cold turkey and just jumped off the cliff of small business. And that first year I was paddling in a little canoe, and then the second year I got up to maybe a paddle boat with a little electronic motor, and my goal is to be on the yacht. But yeah, it's hard the first year, but that's why I created my whole system. Because people kept calling me, asking me how am I doing this? So I don't have time to answer questions all the time because I'm seeing patients. So I created CashBasedPhysiotherapy.org where they could have 24/7 online access to my blueprint, so they don't have to make the same mistakes I made at first. And yeah, it's hard, But if you follow my principles, then you should be able to get things set up and at least have a mentor or guidance on what to do when you don't have patients. You're open and the doors are open, but no one's coming in.
Right.
So.
Okay. So it might be on that website, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What type of starting documents, whether it's legal, what are maybe the first 3 or 5 legal items or documents that need to be completed to jump into Cash PT? Maybe it's an LLC or a PLLC, depending on your state.
You have to establish yourself as a business and a company, and you can consult with a CPA and with a lawyer on what's the best way to designate your company, whether you want to do an LLC and get taxed as an S corp and stuff like that. That's we don't know that stuff. I recommend meeting with a good lawyer or a good CPA to help what's the best way to get tax benefits, etc., for your size business. Yes, you got to establish yourself as a business. I had to register my business with my state and then get all my legal stuff worked out. I did consult with a lawyer to help me write up my consent to treat and my notice of privacy practice and stuff like that. So I've consulted a lawyer to get a blueprint for that stuff. And then after that, I designed my own progress notes, SOAP notes, eval structures, and what I needed, and you have to go to your practice act too. Your practice act may or may not say what is the minimum requirements needed when you're doing an eval. Like, for example, we have to set 2 goals. My practice act says that during an evaluation, I have to set 2 goals. So I can make it a short-term or a long-term, short-term, whatever, but the practice act will give you some information that way, and it's really how you want to run your practice. I wanted to do paper documentation, so I spent some time, wrote out all my paper documentation, and again, you get access to all my documentation through Business 101. So you don't have to do that work, you don't have to pay the lawyer's fees. I give you my paperwork as a part of Business 101.
Okay. So is there a difference between Cash PT and Concierge PT or personalized services? Is there a difference? Is it all the same, or?
I may get this wrong. Concierge medicine is considered, like a lot of physicians do concierge medicine, where they'll come to the house, or you have one physician has like 200 patients, and when you need the physician, they'll come to the house, or you'll go to that one physician. Now, whether it's a la carte menu where you pay for your services, or if it's just a membership fee, there's different subcategories of that, of how they want to run that. Like, my primary care physician is a membership based, so I pay out of pocket to go to my primary care physician.
Instead of insurance?
Yes, correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Healthcare, absolutely horrible. Horrible. I don't even know what to say. That's a whole nother topic.
That is.
So I actually joined a health share, which is, it's a Christian ministry, and I pay like, for my family, I actually pay $400 a month, and my deductible is $1,500. I can choose to go to whoever I want, and I have a primary care physician for my family and myself. Text access, telehealth, communication wise, on a hit of a button, I can talk to her. My daughter has a rash, or she's sick.
No co-pays for any of that?
No, correct.
It's already paid for.
Nothing's paid for. It's membership based.
So tests, labs, procedures.
Well, I have to pay up charges for the test. But for a physician visit, if my daughter's 7 months old, has a rash or comes down with something, I can get her in real quick, ASAP, get her in, done. There's no way am I letting insurance company dictate care of myself or my family. I'll take charge of it. So I'm a part of a health share. I don't want to deal with anything. I don't want anyone telling me where I want to go, where I have to go, who to see. I'm in charge. And now that I know that my physician is legit and she's in charge of myself, my wife, and my daughter. So I have actually done that. And she uses telehealth.
Awesome.
And then, so there's different models of concierge medicine. I tend to view cash-based physiotherapy. You could run a membership-based. I've never heard of it, never seen anyone do it before. Because, I mean, if you saw the root cause of the problem, how many more times are they going to come back to see you?
Yeah. For
same
cost.
Yeah. So, kind of look at it as like a la carte menu or a fee-for-service type of practice. So concierge medicine is kind of different than just a cash-based fee-for-service kind of private pay model.
All right.
That's it?
That's it.
Good. So these are just some questions that we wanted to go over regarding cash-based physical therapy. If you have any questions for me, please send me an email or comment in the box below. If you want more about my services, a cash-based physical therapy model, my business, marketing, and sales 101 strategies, you can visit cashbasedphysicaltherapy.org. Thanks again for coming in.
Thanks a lot for having me, Ron. Thanks.
And we'll see you next time.